Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this Saturday we have StarCrossed, an innovative co-op shooter. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Contigo Games and publisher Whitehorn Digital, StarCrossed released for PCs in February of 2020. So it's an interesting shoot 'em up that's kind of built around the idea of being co-op right from the ground up. So the easiest way to explain that would be to show you. So the game does have a couple modes we can play it in. There's story mode and arcade mode. Story mode, you play through the game's story. Arcade is just based off of scoring the best score you can in the arcade format. Once you select your mode, you're taken to the character select. Here we can choose between the 5 characters. So there's the hero with the ultimate homing shot, the outlaw with the ultimate heavy star, the idol with ultimate wave laser, the weapon with ultimate star storm, and the princess with ultimate royal guard. So, in addition to the different character art, there is the ultimate that's different between them, but that's the primary difference you have between the characters. So do note, it is possible to play this game single player, but it would be quite difficult as you'd be controlling 2 characters with 1 controller. As far as control schemes, there's a couple different ways that you could ultimately set it up. So the game is built around you controlling one of the 2 characters on screen. And since it's meant to be co-op, there are a few different ways you can set that up. There's of course each player having their own controller. You could also have a player have 1 controller and the other player playing on the keyboard, or you could also do the 2-player 1 controller route, where each character is controlled by one of the sticks on a controller. So the way that this game works is there's a star that bounces back and forth between the 2 characters, and that's your weapon. You have to use your star to defeat the enemies by positioning yourself in a way that the star will pass through the enemies as it goes between you and your partner. There are a couple different ways that we can change this up. So there is a star boost that increases the speed the star bounces back and forth. Not only does it increase the speed, but it also increases your multiplier. And it will also earn you additional energy for the ultimates, which is the other form of attack that we have available to us. There's also power-ups that will occasionally drop, like that lightning bolt that's on screen, which can help charge up your energy as well. And in arcade mode, after you complete a stage, you'll get a results screen, enemies destroyed sync time HP bonus, and based off of your score, or rather your rank, there'll be a bonus added into your score. Rather important for the leaderboard. So that's basically what we have here in StarCrossed. The gameplay is at a glance relatively simple, but there's a lot of basically fun and interesting experimentation, as it's one that's based around cooperation between you and your partner. There are a reasonably decent variety to the enemies, and as you progress through the gameplay, you have the enemies getting increasingly more difficult. So they'll start off with like kind of the purple color, and then we'll get like ones that are more difficult, the black colored enemies that take more hits and sometimes are faster, more responsive, ones that will actually more actively shoot at the players, like these lasers, and there'll also be boss characters and boss fights. So that being the case, we'll jump over to story mode real quick to show you one of those boss fights. So here we are a little ways into the story mode of StarCrossed. We have changed characters a little bit. Now we're playing as the Outlaw and the Weapon. And this is one of the bosses that you encounter over the course of the story. So the boss fight shows off a lot of really neat features that, or mechanics that the enemies can throw at you. With the wave passing lasers, the bullet hell-like patterns, and after a little ways into the fight, we can build up an ultimate. So let's go ahead and show off the ultimate for the Weapon. Especially against the bosses, the ultimates can be very, very powerful. And I feel that if you're looking for a tier list, the Weapon's ultimate is by far the most effective, with the heroes being the weakest. So throughout the course of the story, you'll be getting these visual novel-like scenes just going through the story, which happens to do with trying to recover this harmony crystal from some bad guys that have stolen it. And it's, from like what I played of it so far, it's definitely like cute and serves the purpose of driving forth the gameplay. But it's like ultimately like nothing that's like too revolutionary, at least as far as storytelling is concerned. So that is StarCrossed, served up for your enjoyment. As far as minus flavors are concerned, for the most part, I really like the title and don't have a whole lot that I can say negative about it. There is the enemy spawn positions, though. Sometimes with the way that we have to attack enemies, with them spawning out at the edges of the screens and sometimes even the corners, it's really hard to find a way to position yourself and your partner in a way that you can easily get certain enemies with the weaponry that is available to you. So that is like definitely a frustration. But for as far as the plus flavors are concerned, I really like how the game was built as a co-op title from the ground up, where it's meant to be two-player. Like I said, you can play it one player, but it's almost a little like mind-bending just to try and accomplish that. It's definitely a far better experience if you're playing it two-player, and I really appreciate that. Though it is local co-op only, so that might be a little bit of a restriction, or make the title a little bit more restrictive as far as those who could enjoy it, get the most enjoyment out of it. As far as other plus flavors are concerned, I also really like just the cute, colorful nature of the characters in particular. And then for the last plus flavor, I really like seeing a shoot 'em up that does something a little bit different with the shoot 'em up genre. So in this case, having it be a co-op title where you've just got this star bouncing back and forth between the two players, and that's your attack. I just like seeing new ideas given to this wonderful genre. So if you've got a co-op partner to play the title with, then StarCrossed is definitely a title that I recommend you give a try to. I've had a lot of fun with it so far, and I think if you're looking for something a little bit different, you might as well. You might have a lot of fun with it as well. Alright, that'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me this week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.